Welcome to the Football Garbage Time NFL podcast. My name is Wong, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Football Garbage Time. And with me is the stand-in co-host, because my co-hosts, Scott King and Ryan Whitfield, are out today. So standing in for them is a stuffed New York Giants monkey. How are you doing, monkey? Yes, I am also at a loss for words as we now are past the 2026 NFL Combine, which means the NFL Draft is only a hop, skip, and jump away on April 23rd in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I am as excited as everybody because we all know that NFL teams may change the course of their franchise with a single pick. Monkey, what's your favorite NFL draft pick? Eli Manning? I mean, you're a New York Giants monkey, though, right? Eli Manning, he was actually drafted by the San Diego Chargers in 2004. But since he refused to play there, he was traded to the Giants. So he wasn't drafted by the Giants, monkey. What do you mean fake news? That's what happened. Okay, never mind. Let's get back to it. Let's get on to 2026, shall we? Because that's where we are today. But before we do that, let's talk about what the NFL Combine is. So the NFL Combine began in 1982 as the National Invitational Camp, or NIC, in Tampa, Florida, with 163 players attending its inaugural event. The idea was to centralize player evaluations and reduce inefficiencies from teams conducting separate workouts. Now, initially, there were three separate scouting organizations, National, Blesto, and Quadra. They held independent camps. But in 1985, the NFL said there can only be one. There can be only one, and thus they were merged to form a single unified event, officially renamed the NFL Scouting Combine. Now, some of you may have thought there that I was referencing The Lord of the Rings, but I was not. I was referencing the movie Highlander. So if you got that wrong, go watch it immediately. It's awesome and basically was the pinnacle of Christopher Lambert's career. All right, so the Combine today, which has been held in Indianapolis since 1987, serves as a 4-day invitation-only evaluation for top draft eligible college players. Its primary focus includes physical tests, which include the 40-yard dash, the bench press at 225 pounds, vertical jump, broad jump, 20-yard shuttle, 3-cone drill, and a 60-yard shuttle. And then there are specific position drills evaluating a technique and skill for each role. And then there's, of course, these cognitive assessments, including the Wonderlic test, which you might recall is the Ryan Fitzpatrick test of Harvard fame because he absolutely aced it. There will also be interviews. Teams conduct up to 60 interviews per player to assess character and football IQ. So now that you know all that, now that you know what the NFL Combine is, let's talk about the standouts on the offensive side of the ball today with the players at each position that I think did the most to either solidify or improve their standing for the upcoming NFL Draft. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about 2026. And let me say, first of all, that this is the fastest draft of all time. And I don't mean the draft went by fast. I mean that everybody ran the 40-yard dash at the fastest times. For defensive backs, the average across all players tested, 4.44. That is the fastest of all time in NFL Combine history. For wide receivers, 4.44, also fastest of all time in NFL Combine history. Running backs, 4.545. Surprise, fastest of all time in NFL Combine history. Linebackers, 4.55, also first. Quarterbacks, 4.60. Yeah, that's only second fastest of all time. But tight ends picked it back up, 4.63, fastest of all time. Defensive linemen, 4.83, fastest of all time. And defensive linemen, 5.10. So this is by far the fastest NFL Combine in the history of the NFL. And there are lots of standouts to talk about. And let's start at the very top. Let's talk about quarterbacks. Monkey, what's the quarterback that you are most excited about after the NFL Combine? Yeah, you're right. It is hard to choose. There are so many to pick from. I'm going to go with Ty Simpson first. Obviously, he's already high on everybody's radar. The quarterback from Alabama. He measured out well, 6'1" and an eighth, 211 pounds, 9 3/8 inch hands, 30 and 78 inch arm length, and a 76.5 inch wingspan. He didn't participate on any on-field testing, but he did go through the position skill drills, and he did a pretty good job. Only 2 bad throws on the day, and anyway, one on an out route and another on the rail. For the most part, it was great, strong ball placement throughout. He really did a great job demonstrating his ability to hit receivers. He's a little bit of an older prospect, essentially 1 year of starting experience, and the results of the season were kind of up and down. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But he could still kind of slide into that late first round, early second round consideration, just in comparison to the others in there. We already know that Fernando Mendoza will be the number 1 overall draft pick and the number 1 quarterback off the sheet. He did not test at all at the NFL Combine. He did just walk into the building and stretch. And to that, he got like a standing ovation because, of course, he's in Indianapolis. And after winning Indiana, its first ever college football championship, yeah, he's never going to have to pay for a meal again in the state of Indiana, I'd say. Right, Monkey? Yeah, I absolutely believe that as well. Good point. All right, let's talk about the next guy because Ty Simpson is at the top. The next guy, of course, is Garrett Nussmeier. I believe we talked about him before as being a potential quarterback that might slide up there as well. Late day 1, maybe into a day 2 pick. He measured out fine, 6'2", 203 pounds, 9 1/8 inch hands, 30 3/8 inch arm length. He didn't participate in any on-field testing either, but he did go through the skill drills. And he started off a little rough. Some of his first couple throws were pretty bad, but he quickly settled in. He avoided any more issues there. Ball placement has been better for him as he went through the entire time process. And he did a nice job of leading receivers, giving the opportunity to make plays on the football down the field. So it definitely demonstrates his ability to hit those guys in stride. He's had, of course, injuries all season. There's certainly, you can see that on the tape, but you you see it in the combine, he's now healthy. He looks good. He's proven that he's reliable choice at that position. He may be the 3rd quarterback off the draft board for me. Maybe, like I said, late day 1, maybe a day 2 pick. I think there could be something good there for him. The big surprise here, I think, and I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about his monkey, is Talon Green, the quarterback from Arkansas. Now, he had probably the most fantastic combine performance of quarterback history. And he did it in amazing ways because he had a record-breaking 43.5-inch vertical. And he also had a quarterback best 11'2" broad jump. Now, Anthony Richardson, who is the number 4 pick of the Indianapolis Colts in 2023, had the previous high for quarterbacks with a 40-inch vertical and a 10'9" broad jump. So he exceeded both of those things. But of course, Anthony Richardson wasn't as successful as we all thought he would be in the NFL. Had some highs, had a lot of lows, and then he basically lost his starting job to a guy who came from your team, Monkey, the New York Giants, and Daniel Jones. Now, Green's official 4.36 time on the 40-yard dash is the 2nd fastest time ever by a quarterback. The only quarterback faster than that in the NFL Combine was Michael Vick in 2001 with a 4.33. So, there is some definite upside here. He's 6'6", 227 pounds. He is a big dude that has great athleticism. He made great plays in Arkansas last year, threw for 2,714 yards, 19 touchdowns, but he did have 11 interceptions, and he picked up 777 rush yards and 8 ground scores as well. So dual threat quarterback, maybe in the vein of a Lamar Jackson if he can get his accuracy up a little bit. But I think that he could be a great mid-late round pick for somebody at the combine. A lot of upside, but he's going to be a work in progress. He won't be starting right away. But he did a lot at NFL Combine in order to increase his draft stock. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Luke Altmaier, the quarterback out of Illinois. Measured 6'1" 3/4 inches, 210 pounds, 9-inch hands, 29 7/8 inch arm length. He tested a pretty slow 4.72 40-yard dash, but not that slow. It was fine. It was kind of right there in the middle. It's okay. Not going to blow any doors off, but he did just enough. 32-inch vertical jump, 114-inch broad jump. He may have been the most consistent quarterback from start to finish across the board. He did great job on all the skills tests, good ball placement, good anticipation. Didn't matter what route he was throwing to. He did a great job. And I think that he's going to demonstrate that he can be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. Will he be a starting quarterback? I don't know. He's definitely going to be a work in progress. Could be a great backup quarterback, though. He may go late in the draft. Could be a steal if he develops. So keep an eye on Luke Altmaier. Did well for himself there at the NFL Combine. Let's turn on to the running back position now, Monkey. What's the running back that you like the most? Yeah, I think that you love, just like everybody else in the country, Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame. He is absolutely out of this world. He tested an amazing 4.36 second 40-yard dash with a 1.55 second 10-yard split. I mean, he didn't only participate, he blew the doors off. He said he was going to run in the 4.344s, and he did exactly that in a really impressive fashion. Obviously, terrific. He's going to go in the top 10 probably because of his ability and his agility and his explosiveness and his long range speed that he showed up on all the on-field drills. He looked great with the ball in his hands, and he had amazing reaction time to the things that were in front of him, around him. He was great. He's going to be a terrific player if he can get into the right system. I think, again, a top 10 pick, but we all know running backs don't go at the top of the draft that often. Last year, we had two. We had Ashton Jeanty. We had Omarion Hampton go in the first round. Will Jeremiah Love also go in the first round? I think so. We'll see where he ends up. There are a lot of people thinking he might slide to the 20th pick or later, in which case I think he would be an absolute outright steal. And of course, if I'm going to mention Jeremiah Love, I got to mention his running mate at Notre Dame. That's Jadarian Price. He did a lot in order to increase his draft stock as well. A 4.49 second 40-yard dash, and not as amazing 1.61 second 10-yard split, but incredibly good. Anyway, 35-inch vertical, 10'4", broad jump. He came into the combine trying to demonstrate that he can be a lead back, but also have really good pass catching ability to be that third down, change of pace back as well. And he looked fantastic. He snagged all the things on during the drills, and he did a great job of all the running drills as well. Testing numbers were fine. I think that his drills, though, are what are going to move him up the board in terms of his ability to run the ball between the tackles and catch the ball. I think there is a lot of potential here. He may actually go in the first two rounds as well. So we will see what happens to Jadarian Price. And of course, if you're looking past that, I got my eye on Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest as well. That running back doing good things for himself at the combine. A 4.37 second 40-yard dash, blazing fast 1.59 second 10-yard split, 10'2" broad jump. It's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. Running backs are kind of one of those volatile classes that you don't know what's going to happen in the draft. Claiborne is one of those guys who has the ability to jump up. He has great footwork. He showcased some amazing agility and quickness in the pass catching drills. He looked like a natural, and he's moving all over the place. He caught 51 passes in his final two seasons in Wake Forest. He could catch more in the NFL, but that speed really did kind of impact everything. I mean, he got up to a 23.7 mile per hour top speed rating during that 40-yard dash, and he is really fast. I mean, that's the second fastest top speed in combine history, or actually in the combine over the last 3 years, aside from Devon Achane, and Devon Achane obviously having a great run in Miami. So Damon Claiborne, running back out of Wake Forest, on my list. Let's talk about wide receivers, shall we? All right. Well, the guy that I have my eye on because he was there partnered with Fernando Mendoza that's Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. He tested a 4.42 40-yard dash, 1.55 second 10-yard split, 37-inch vertical jump. He didn't really have to do much, right? In order to he's got a lot of eyes on from the season. They had a very successful season, as we all know, at Indiana. But having that official 4.42 40-yard dash actually does help bring up his draft stock, because the tape there shows that he has great strength, he has great balance, and now he's showing great speed and great burst. So he didn't participate in any drills, but he did at least show up and test on the 40-yard dash, answering the question about his ability to get burst and separation. So I expect Omar Cooper to be right on up there. But of course, everyone else is talking about your favorite monkey. What is it? Makai Lemon. Yes, of course, because he is one of those guys who I think is going to be kind of, just based on film, he's going to be one of the top wide receivers off the board. His acceleration, top of the line, straight down. He is just amazing. He had one drop in the gauntlet, but he caught everything else around him. He did not test otherwise, so we don't know much about it, but he is definitely one person to keep an eye on, and we all think that he's going to probably be a round one draft pick come the NFL draft. All right, who else did you have your eyes on here, monkeys? Let's go a little deeper. Oh, you say KC Concepcion? Yeah, I like KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M. That's a great one. Now, of course, 5'11" and 5'8", so a little bit on the shorter side, 196 pounds. It's interesting to see what could happen. He didn't participate in the on-field testing. So he did do some drills, and that looked really, really good. Had a great strong workout, caught the ball everywhere he was. But I think it would be interesting to get some more numbers on him. I think if the speed kind of comes out there and he gets a nice maybe during a pro day or something, that can really do a lot to kind of bump him up, because he's definitely in that second tier of wide receivers in the NFL draft. But that strong pro day could kind of bump him up to that number one tier. I don't know, but I do have my eye on him. I think there's a lot of potential there for him to bump up in the draft a little bit, or be a really good quality value pick later on in the draft. And I have my eye. And again, what are you saying? Are you telling me that I'm biased here, Monkey? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. I have a little bit of bias, but I'm looking at Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. Now, he had a 4.61 40-yard dash, 4.35 shuttle, 6.98 3-cone. He had a vertical of 38. He had a broad jump of 10 foot 4 inches. Okay, so the speed is just okay, right? It's nothing going to blow the doors off or anything like that. But that's the type of 40-yard dash that Devontae Adams, Larry Fitzgerald, Reggie Wayne, they all had, and they turned out okay. So I think there's some potential here. Remember, Malachi Fields, 6'4", 218 pounds. He is a great tall receiver that can box out and get those one-on-one plays, 50-50 balls. And he proved that he had the vertical for it, with a 38 vertical, and he had the broad jump of 10 foot 4 inches. So really, really great vertical and broad jump there. And he had an impressive showing at the Senior Bowl, of course. So that's kind of building on that. I think there is some potential to get some value there from Malachi Fields in the mid rounds of the NFL draft. Let's turn to tight end, shall we? There's only one tight end to talk about, right, Monkey? Which one is that? Right. It's Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. I think that he is definitely the number one tight end, and he had the performance of all performances for tight ends at the NFL Combine: a 4.39 40-yard dash, 1.54 10-yard split, a vertical of 43.5, and a broad jump of 11 foot 2 inches. That is elite speed, elite vertical, and elite broad jump. That is everything under the sun. The fastest 40-yard dash by a tight end in the history of the Combine. Last year, in the senior year, 360 yards and 8 touchdowns. Hey, listen, tight ends are catching on, man. We all know it. We saw Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland taken in the first round last year, and both of them had incredibly productive years. I think that Kenyon Sadiq will be drafted in the first round, just like you, Monkey, and I think that he will be a great find for anybody's offense. So let's now turn to the offensive linemen, close out the offensive side of the ball here. A couple guys who stood out for me. What about you, Monkey? Who do you like here? Spencer Fano out of Utah? Yeah, I think he did a great job. Obviously, he tested 4.91 second 40-yard dash, 1.72 second 10-yard split, 32-inch vertical, 9 foot 3 inch broad jump, 7.34 second 3-cone, and a 4.67 second shuttle. Some people say his arm length isn't right. Yeah, they say his arm length, 32 and 1/8 inches, is not enough for an offensive lineman. And that's a big deal. But, Will Campbell also had the same doubters and ended up in the Super Bowl. So, hey, listen, Fano is great. His technique is plus, his movement skills plus. He definitely looked great in his drill. He had lots of energy, and he looked like he was standing out like no other there. The only limited factor here is being a tackle. It's unclear where he's going to fit in. He's going to be an offensive lineman. If he's going to be a guard, he might end up being a guard for a number of reasons. Either way, he will be a great day one add to anybody's offensive line. So Spencer Fano out of Utah, great pick, did well at the Combine, really moved his way up there. And I also like Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. I mean, he tested 4.93 second 40-yard dash, 1.71 second 10-yard split, 33.5-inch vertical, and a 9'7" broad jump. He has great size, 6'7" and 3/8 inches, 315 pounds, and he is very athletic, as you can tell from his his testing drills, his offensive line drills. He looked incredibly fluid and quick. He looked great, and I think he's going to be an elite athletic offensive lineman that will be taken in the draft sometime in the late first round. maybe sometime in the early second round, but it'll be a great value in the second round. So Monroe Freeling out of Georgia, great offensive lineman there. I think that will be great. And then one more bonus guy to keep an eye on here. Who is it, Monkey? Yeah, it's Chase Bisontis out of Texas A&M. I like him too, Monkey. And you definitely like Texas A&M for some reason. I'm not sure why, but that's a good pick. 5.02 second 40-yard dash, 1.76 second 10-yard split, 32-inch vertical jump, 4'9" broad jump, 7.53 second 3-cone, and a 4.78 second shuttle. He tested well, and his movement skills were off the charts. He looked so smooth, so fast, so energized. And I think he was probably the top performer in every single drill. This is somebody that I think I really, really like as an excellent value in day 2. I think that if he goes there, he is going to be a fantastic addition to any offensive line. And his pass protection in college was above and beyond. I think that anybody looking to shore up that offensive line to give their quarterback a chance is going to win big if they get Chase Bisontis in the second day of the draft. So I love all those things there. And Monkey, you had some great ones there as well. Let's go ahead and hit the air horn on the show. Yeah, that was fantastic. Great job, Monkey. Thank you for standing in for Ryan and Scott. Those losers have nothing on you. We may be seeing a lot more of you in the near future. And thank you, everyone, for coming out and wasting time with us. As per usual, we have so much that we want to talk about, so little time, but we're going to go ahead and cover all that offseason stuff as we get into the NFL draft. As you know, Football Garbage Time does an online X/Twitter NFL mock draft, and we are bar none better than most pundits in terms of picking the right people and the right positions for your team. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in about a month, but we're going to be talking about all the offseason stuff as we go along, trades and new free agent pickups, and of course all the franchise tags that have already gone around. We're going to talk about all that stuff and all this other stuff about the new rookies coming in and that NFL draft just around the corner. All right, so until next time, enjoy your NFL offseason week.